All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Curry, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy it. Today we go back to an episode that I recorded on our 4-year anniversary, where I talked about passion and purpose. And today we're leading up to our 300th episode, which is next week. And I have some pretty interesting things to talk about in that episode, which I'm really looking forward to. But for now, we're reflecting on the episode from our 4-year anniversary, where I talk about passion and purpose. And I talk about the importance of having passion and purpose in what you do. Now, it's easier said than done, of course. Not everyone has the luxury to be able to follow their passion and their purpose, but we all have some sort of choice. And the idea behind the episode, the time I recorded it, and even now as I'm, going back to it, is just to highlight the importance of loving what you do, in doing things every day that give you energy, things that create purpose. I hope you enjoy. I hope it gets you thinking, and I'm really looking forward to our 300th episode next week. Enjoy. The things you do every single day for work, do they give you joy? Are you passionate about them? Now, there's different ways of defining passion, and yes, what this means, and sort of, I enjoy it. And yes, I understand that there's different things that give people different kicks, but is it something that gives you energy, or is it something that drains your energy? Now, I know when it comes to work, it's not as easy as that. Not all of us can just decide what we want to do for work and we just do it. For me, I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I'm able to do something that I am so passionate about. But there's different ways of approaching it. And if you're listening to this and as I'm asking this question, whether, what you do for work, whether it gives you energy, whether it's something that gives you joy, whether it's something that you are passionate about, if you're listening to this and the answer is no, then I encourage you to work on a career path towards something that gives you passion, something that you enjoy. If you think about it, we've got 24 hours in the day. Usually we spend a third of that day in bed sleeping. So really, that's why experts recommend that you have a good mattress. We spend a third of that day at work, which is why it's important to do something for work that you enjoy. And the other third, we usually spend it with friends, family, the things in between, the hobbies. And the sleep we all need to do, of course. But it's the other things. It's the work side of things. Now, some of us have a choice with work. Some of us have the option to study, to choose a different career path. Some of us have the option in our current workplace to move into a different role, to talk to your manager, to look at what's available, what's out there, to move into a different position. Maybe you've always worked in customer service, but you want to get into sales, or vice versa. Let's say you're the type of person that's, let's say you're a receptionist at a dental practice, and you want to actually study and do a lot more than just sitting at a desk at a dental practice, and you want to do a lot more. There are so many different options. The other one is if you don't have the option to change careers, or if it's not that simple for financial reasons or time, or we all have different constraints in our lives, of course, then in the other 8 hours, find something that you're passionate about. It could be music. It could be a hobby. It could be spending time with certain people. You might have certain people in your life that you enjoy spending time with. The other week I was talking to someone and he told me that we were just chatting about his life and work and family, and he just mentioned to me that he has got some friends that he used to always play pool with, and he was a really good pool player, and They always used to catch up once a week. They used to play pool, and they haven't for 4 or 5 years. Everyone's just had kids, got married, life changed. But it's something he loved. And as we were talking about it, I can just see his eyes just light up, and I can see that passion in his eyes. And I just asked him, why don't you start doing it again? And he said, I don't know. And first he said, but life's a bit crazy with kids and whatever. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I asked him, why don't you just spend 1 hour, 2 hours a week, or 2 hours a fortnight, or even 2 hours a month with your friends playing pool? And he did not know the answer to that question. And it just, essentially, we worked out that it was just habits. Over time, life just changed. Priorities changed, as they do in all our lives. But he just forgot to go back to it. And he promised me that he was going to catch up with those friends and start playing pool again. And we'll see how that goes. And I haven't spoken to him since, but that's just an example of something that you can do. If you can't change work, do something else that you're passionate about. It could be a side business. It could be focusing on music. It could be, as I said, spending time with certain people. It could be doing something in the backyard. Gardening. I love gardening. Again, as I'm talking to you, I'm just getting excited thinking about these things. And it's really important for us to work hard in our life. It's very important for us to be ambitious, to want to grow our careers and life. But at the same time, we need to realize that all of those things, those materialistic things, money or etc., it's at the end of the day, it really is worth nothing if you look at it as a big picture. Like when we're on our deathbed and we're looking back at life, we're not going to be thinking about the number of cars that we drove or the number of holidays that we went on. We're going to be looking around us. We're going to be, first of all, looking at who's sitting around that bed with us. And secondly, we're going to be thinking about the things that we achieved in our lives, the things that really brought us joy. And you know what? It probably could be the travel. It could be the holidays that we did, or the experiences, or the ways we pushed ourselves past our limits, or just the things that we look back on now in our lives and think, you know what? That was a very proud moment. That was something I'm very proud of. And it's important to always remind ourselves of these things. And when it comes to passion, when it comes to following our passion, you know what? There's two ways to it. One, in either option, either pathway is fine. One is it's a particular passion that won't actually get you much financially in life. And now I'm approaching this as a financial advisor. It may not get you much financially in life, and you may not progress too much. And if anything, it might actually cost you money, but that's okay because there's a lot of personal gain that comes out of that, not just financial. You cannot put a price on being happy. You can't put a price on doing something that you love or something that gives you energy. But the other thing is sometimes following your passion can actually lead you towards something which does get you financial success. Steve Jobs is one of the best examples I can think of. You know, he was a leader. He was someone that followed his passion. And initially he talks about, I've heard him talk about what he does and why he's so successful. And he says, do what you love. Do what you love. And he says, people with passion can change the world for the better. And there's no further truth than that. The other thing as well is that there's, I've heard of so many stories. Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett even says that to get rich, one of his number one rules is to know what success really means. So knowing what success actually means to you. Success to you doesn't have to be financial. It can be in so many different ways, or it could be financial, but it doesn't have to be millions of dollars. But understanding what success means to you and following your passion, those two things, I can tell you now, as someone that talks to people for a living about these things, they are in many, many ways some of the keys to someone's life success. I want to say financial, but I'd rather say personal success. And it all goes back to passion. Now, before I finish off, I want to talk about some of the benefits of doing something that you're passionate about. And some of these are not as obvious as you think. Now, the obvious benefits are the ones I've mentioned. You'll be doing something that gives you energy, something that you love, something that you enjoy, something that makes you happy, right? And they're obviously the main reasons that we follow things that we're passionate about and we do things that we love. But there are other benefits to it as well. Research has shown, and even my personal experience, is when someone is doing something that they're passionate about, something that they really enjoy. As I said, it could be a hobby, it could be a job that they're passionate about. They do a lot better in their other parts of their lives. So relationships, they're much more happy in their relationships and in their family circle. Mental health, their mental health is in a much, much better state because they're able to do things. They've got an outlet. They're doing things that they're enjoying. The third one is personal goals, personal planning. Just in general, if somebody is a lot more optimistic about their lives and optimistic about waking up every morning and doing something that they're looking forward to, they're a lot more likely to want to plan for the future and work towards the future compared to somebody that just gets out of bed, doesn't really enjoy what they do, can't wait to come home and go to bed and do it all over again. And that person is not the type of person that's going to be really forward-looking and wanting to do better in the future, or to plan for the future, or to engage a professional or a friend or whatever to do better. So that's something else I really wanted to outline. And again, just to finish off, I just want anyone listening to this episode to just ask themselves that question. Am I passionate about what I do every day in my life? And it doesn't have to be everything, but am I spending at least 3 or 4 hours a day doing something that I love, or spending it with someone that I love? And if the answer is no, or if the answer is it depends, I really encourage you to take the next step and do something. Speak to someone, do some research, contact me. I would love to have a chat. It doesn't matter, anyone. I'm happy to have a 15-minute chat at no cost with anyone to discuss their situation. Yes, I'm a financial advisor, but I'm still happy to have a chat about anything else. It doesn't bother me. That's what I'm here for. That's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about. But just take the next step, do something, do that thing that you've always wanted to do. Sign up for that club you wanted to sign up for. Start that sport you've wanted to start. Take out those hobbies that you used to do and, wipe the dust off and just start them. Make time for it. Make time for it. Don't expect time to just pop up. Don't say I've got no time. You're probably thinking that as you're listening to this episode, but just make the time. If you make the time, I guarantee you, the time will make itself in the future. You'll just naturally want to do it. It's just taking that first step. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.